I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the author of Jay Taylor's Gold Energy and Tech Stocks newsletter. I'm also the host of a radio show called Turning Hard Times into Good Times. It airs every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on the Voice America Business Channel. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum. It's May 2019, and I'm really pleased to be with Yannis Tsitos. He's the president of a company that I've really come to love called Goldsource Mines, and it's a company that's operating in Guyana. Not too many companies down there, but there have been, there's at least one I know of that's been very successful, and with some really good news that Yannis has come out with recently, some drill results. I'm starting to think that this could be a second major deposit. Time will tell. But thanks, Yannis, for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Jay, for the opportunity to talk to your audience.
Yeah, so you have this, it started out as a very small scale saprolite deposit. It would be a low cost operation, but you weren't getting recoveries that were high enough using simple gravity, and so now you're going to build a cyanide circuit with your gravity, and you're going to get very high grades now. You've done the metallurgy. Things are looking good from that perspective, but in order to justify the capital cost, you had to find more ore. And so you were finding more, but lo and behold, you found more that it's about 3 or 4 times richer potentially, although it's early days. Talk to us a little bit about your discovery and what the scale of it is, what you might dream of.
Right. Look, the main deposit, just to remind people, is about 1 million ounces, starting from surface at 1.35 grams per ton average. So, as you said, and it's not about mining over 3 years or 5 years. We knew that the main Eagle Mountain is going to be economic at some point because gold is on surface. But when you go to achieve some serious debt to build a mine like that, 4,000 to 5,000 tons per day operation, producing 75,000, 95,000 ounces, whatever is going to be the feasibility kind of sweet spot there, you want to have the safety of operating a minimum of 8 to 12 years.
Sure.
Okay? So in that process, we were drilling a lot in the periphery because the main deposit was open in 3 directions. So, and in this process, as we expand our project, I want to remind people we have about 5,000 hectares land of jungle, okay? So it's not like you see too much outcrop. You have to go out and chase some good grades on geochemistry and some geophysical targets. So in this process, we had some good indications about an area 1.5 kilometers away from an historical auger. Which is
drilling.
Shallow drilling, a high grade intersection at about 4 meters depth. So we mobilized an excavator from our pilot plant, and we trenched there 128 meters at almost 2 grams. So continuous, and that was exceptional because for us it was an eye opener. We started paying more attention to study this area. And then last year we shoot 2 diamond holes, and on January 23rd, I'm blessed to say that we had the privilege to come out and say 69 meters from 0 to 69 at 6.5 grams per ton. So as you said, it's beautiful. So this whole change is transformative for the project. It's about 4 times better grade than your main deposit. Of course, we did subsequent drilling, so we believe we have a core of about 2.5 to 3.5 grams per ton, and then you've got some areas that are much more enriched within this kind of package.
Can you give us some sense of what the size of the scale of the target of this?
It's very difficult to predict, but we just announced last week, encourage your audience to check our news releases. We reinterpreted an historical airborne geophysics survey, and we saw that there is a corridor of about 400 to 500 meters wide and 3 kilometers long that you see multiple subparallel magnetic zones that cross-cut as structures. And in these greenstone belt projects, that's what you're looking. You're looking for junctions of these features. Salbora is falling into one of these. So by no means I want to say that all of them will be mineralized, but we have a lot of scope ahead of us. So we decided to mobilize now a ground IP induced polarization group to do some analysis and try to find sulfides, which indirectly will lead us to gold. And we keep on drilling. We are also employing a contractor on top of our own rigs. So in the next 4 to 6 months, we will have a lot of news.
A lot of news next 4 to 6 months. Any drill holes down now that we might be looking forward to, or?
Yes, of course we carry on.
Yeah.
I have a couple of chemical results from some stuff that I cannot talk, but we still have a lot of that pending because there is always a lag from the analytical samples, to bring you. But we carry on drilling. We are putting more geophysics, and we will triple the amount of meterage drilled in the next 4 to 6 months.
You've done some economics earlier on with the saprolites, at least. Can you tell us a little bit about? Do you have a sense of what, to the extent you're able to talk about this, what your costs might be on a per ounce? Well, maybe not a per ounce basis yet, but at least the area that was in your PEA that you've come up with. Can you talk to us about that?
Without telling a number, I mean, the PEA was producing gold at about $630 per ounce, all-in sustaining capital, but that was based purely on gravity, all right? But what I want to mention to people, and what the pleasure that this pilot plant gave us when we operated for 14 months in 2016-17, it was that we had very detailed analysis on the operating costs when it comes to mining. So Guyana, you operate in a green forest, so you've got a wet season, you've got a dry season, so we calculate costs when trucking ore out of the pit, also when you pump ore out of the pit, like say what we call wet mining. So we've got a lot of numbers there, but what is the probably better thing for people to understand, somebody who is not an engineer, that here you are talking for the first 4 to 8 years mining saprolite. And saprolite is not alluvial gold, it's the in situ weathered oxide part of ore. So no blasting effectively, much reduced mining costs. And you just scoop it and you process it, okay? So automatically that brings the cost lower, or will bring the cost lower. So we intend to produce or conclude the pre-feasibility study before the middle of next year, when we know the mine planning from the Salbora now discovery, and hopefully, your audience will come and see the numbers being pretty robust there.
Yeah.
So well, that's probably the best I can say on that.
That's the most you can say now. Well, and we just have to wait for the drill results. That's really and your ongoing exploration. The Salbora was just one of a whole lot of other targets that you have too. As you mentioned, you have a huge land package there.
Yeah, and we have discovered already about 6.5 kilometers of an arc, I would say, almost, that is mineralized, not continuously, of course, but there are different targets, and I call it maybe the string of pearls kind of parallel, that you may not find one body that's continuous, but multiple bodies. All that will be there for multiple pits that will fill the one central processing facility, all right?
Well, with the minute that we have left, could you tell us who your shareholders are? Because that's always important. Does management own any stock?
Right, of course, management owns a significant part of the stock. We get diluted, although we do participate, I must say, and people can check that obviously from our filings, in almost every financing we do, okay? But our biggest shareholders is a fund out of New York called Donald Smith and Associates. They focus themselves pretty aggressively into the precious metal sector. They control about 13% of the company, but with significant amount of warrants, so they can come up to 20%. Then Eric Sprott, Canadian billionaire and big believer in gold, has come recently after this announcement. He controls now about 9% of the company. 9 a couple of other institutional funds from Toronto complete that, but we do have a lot of loyal private wealth shareholders. So I would say maybe about 60% of our issued stock belongs to not more than 45, 50 signatures, and we know all of them. Right. So,
well, at least for the foreseeable future, you do plan to be a producer then, at least with the saprolites, unless somebody else comes along and says, well, if you're fresh rock, your hard rock starts to really prove out to be big, multi-million ounce. Who knows? We don't. You have nearly 1 million ounces now, and you're just on a very small portion of the targeted areas that you've come up with.
And that million does not include Salbora or the new discoveries.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. So, you know, I mean, what are your thoughts? So do you think you'll be a producer in the early stages? Those are the plans, as I understand
For
it.
sure. Look,
Yeah.
people who have studied or will study Goldsource mines, they see Eric Fier, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, like
Right.
one of the best mining engineers I know has developed already a number of mines. So we are not scared or shy of becoming producers, especially because we believe in this phased approach, development approach, that de-risks the project as you go. But you know, as a president, I must say, I've got the fiduciary responsibility to entertain any potential offers that come through the door.
Yeah.
But having said that, we've got our focusing. We are moving towards developing what we have done, and I want people to understand that because you hit something so good, this doesn't mean you have the mine already
course
built.
not. Of course
so
not.
we need to put a lot of hard work
Yeah.
over the next 12 months, prove many more ounces as we go, and therefore the economics of the mine will become much better. And then I'm not scared of who is going to operate, you know, even if it's us or somebody else.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, I'm really looking forward, Yannis. I want to thank you so much for coming to the Metals Investor Forum. Finally, to get your story out. I mean, it's a story that's well worth paying close attention to, I think, especially in light of the Salbora discovery. So wish you all the best.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for wishing your audience go and check our company. We trade under TSX-V on the symbol GXS. Thank you.
Absolutely.